Women's Business Center of Utah is an entrepreneurial center for women here in Utah. We also serve men, but we customize our services for women. And we do that in two main ways, and I try to get a picture of each one. We offer free mentorship with a business advisor, one-on-one. Whether you're in business, have an idea, or you want to grow a business, it's nice to be able to sit down and talk with somebody about what you want to do with your business idea or with your business. And that service is free, always free. When I was the business advisor, I met with one lady 80 times. 80 times over a 5-year period, and I helped her do a lot of different things for her business. It didn't cost her a dime, just her time and getting herself to where we wanted to meet. And I did meet with her in her home a few times. So the reason why we can offer free services is because we are partially funded by a federal grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration. I love that federal agency. But basically, your tax dollars have come all the way back around to help you, and that's why we can offer counseling for free. The other thing that we do is training, both online and in person. Online so that you can access it 24/7, and in person because we know you like to get together. And we like to learn from each other. We like to also just be with other people, not just be by ourselves in our homes, where we sometimes run our businesses. We've been around since 1997, which is kind of a long time. We've grown up. We're 21 now. We just opened a second office in Cedar City. So anyone from Southern Utah here? Or raised in Southern Utah? We have an office at the Business Resource Center at SUU in Cedar City. And they do the same thing as we do here. It's all part of one big team here to support women business owners in Utah. So we'll get into the rest of the presentation, but you can find more information and our online training, most of it's for free, at wbcutah.org. It's a brand new website, by the way. Check it out. All right, so the first thing I want to do is do a poll, an interactive poll. We'll go back to the agenda. The poll. So this is an interactive poll. If you haven't ever done this, it's pretty fun. So if you have a phone, it doesn't have to be a smartphone. I imagine most are right now. But if you pull out your phone, I'm guessing no laptops here. On the right, in order to participate in the poll, you have to text, you don't have to, but you can text the word EVER142 to the number 22333. So bring up a new text. The phone number you're sending it to is the number 22333. And in the body of the text, EVER142, no spaces. This will be fun. You're joining a poll. So the next slide I'm going to show you is a question. You're going to text in your answers, and it's going to automatically update the answers real time up on the screen. I don't think it does, yeah. No case sensitive? Yes, Eve Rickles, that is another one of our employees, so you got it right if you got a text with her name in it. So again, send a text to the number 22333 and the body of the text, EVER142. Is anybody still working on it? They don't want me to go on yet. We'll wait for another few seconds. We've done these polls throughout the state of Utah with women, and it's really fun. I always say, let's not turn off that service. We like to use it as much as we can. All right, again, 22333, the word EVER142. Do you keep this information in a database? No. No, the poll's going to close, and it won't even remember your email, or your phone number. What was that? No. Well, I'll have the answers that you provide, but it doesn't save any of your phone numbers. It's very interesting. Yeah, it saves the answers by the date, and I can see, remember that last year? This is what the group said. It's pretty fun. All right, so the first question, somebody's already answered. You didn't even have the question yet. Okay, the question is, which best describes you? A is I'm a business owner. B, I'm an inspiring entrepreneur, which means I'm interested in being a business owner. The third is I'm an employed professional woman, you work for somebody else. And the last one is I'm an at-home woman. And that could be you're an at-home mother, at-home caretaker, you spend your time at home. This will be really interesting to see the mix here. I don't know if we'll let you do more than one answer, probably not. Are there still more answers coming in? Again, which one best describes you? I'm a business owner, A. The poll's full, and you know what, that might be the case because there's way more people in here than I anticipated. So let's look at it really quickly. So it looks like most of you are professional women. Almost half of you work for someone else. That's awesome. So we talked about during the day, I went to the session on salary negotiation. This is a great place to be. Someone's built something for you to run, like picking up the ball and running with it. It looks like 22% of you already own businesses, and we should just do a standing ovation for you. If you're a business owner, congratulations. It is hard to be a business owner, but it's very rewarding and so worth it. And then 8% of you are at-home women, and aspiring, 24%. So if we combine the business owners combined with aspiring, that's almost half right there. That's pretty amazing. Okay, one more question. And this is a word cloud, so be prepared to do a word. In one word or two, what is your biggest fear about starting a business? Maybe if you already have one, your biggest fear about growing that business or a challenge. Isn't this cool? It's so worth doing these polls. We'll just have them keep coming in until the poll gets full. Oh, there we go. So you see, oh my gosh, you see the two largest are actually the same, failing or failure. We're going to talk a little bit about how to start a business, but whether you succeed or fail, everything's going to help you to be a better person and a better business owner. Most business owners who made it big, usually it wasn't their first try. So if you're scared of failing, go ahead and do it because you're going to get to be a better person after it anyway, and you might just be able to start a really successful business and not fail. Don't let that stop you from actually trying. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is a SWOT analysis. Who here has heard of a SWOT analysis? Oh, maybe a third of you. Okay, it's an acronym, you know. We're a nonprofit. We have government funding, so we get acronyms all day long. But SWOT stands for, it's the quadrants you see. The upper left is your strengths, and then to the right, weaknesses, and then down on the bottom left, opportunities and threats. We want you to think about yourself and do an evaluation on yourself. What are your strengths? This is the first thing about starting a business, is think about what you are and that's going well, some things that are opportunities. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? If you're really bad at money, maybe personal finances, like I mentioned in the very beginning, that just means that you need to improve them, but you definitely have to at least understand what your weaknesses are and your strengths. The opportunities, it might be that you have a golden opportunity in front of you. It might be that you have a brilliant idea and you know that somebody's going to need that product and they're willing to pay for it. Threats. A threat might be maybe you don't have a lot of cash, but there's so many things that could threaten what you're doing. Or there's a lot of competition. Maybe your product is very similar to a whole bunch out there. So the first thing that I would consider for you is to evaluate yourself first and to realize what you're good at and what you're not good at. If you're really good at the finances, then maybe you should be in charge of the finances and don't hand that off to somebody else. If your weakness, and I always say you need to learn your weaknesses and become better at them because you wear all the hats sometimes as a business owner in the very beginning. But understand those opportunities and also the threats around you. Of course, opportunities and threats, they're beyond your control. You just have to identify them. All right, so I love the phrase potential for success. When I think about business ideas, I think, does this business idea have potential for success? Do I have potential for success? And it's interesting how many times I've asked bankers, do you care? I know they care about the money, they care about the numbers, but do they care about the passion? Do they care that somebody's committed? And they absolutely do. Passion is really important. It carries you over the hard times. Passion and commitment for what you're doing is very important. The second thing is real expectations of what this is going to take. And believe me, you won't actually ever really understand what it will take until you do it. But understanding what it is like to be a business owner or what you're going to have to go through, sometimes you can at least identify and research those things. We do a training called Jumpstart, Intro to Entrepreneurship, and it's really about the expectations. What is it really going to take? What am I going to have to put into it? How much time is this going to take me? What am I going to get out of it? I put calendar here because the commitment of time can be great. Some businesses on the side don't have to take up your whole life. I have a business that the Women's Business Center of Utah helped me create. I shouldn't say create, I created it myself. They helped me launch it. I was a client there, and I sat down with the business mentor, a business advisor, and I started a non-alcoholic bartending service, which you think in Utah kind of would work, and it's really fun. Not a stuffy business, totally on the side, and they helped me get going on it. The first few times I thought, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know what to look at first. That's what I want to share with you so that if you have an idea, at least you know where to put your mind and your effort first. All right. Oh, before we go on, I always say you should never run a business by yourself, ever. It's too lonely and it's a lot of work. Make sure that you reach out to the people around you, whether it's someone like our center that's a resource to you, or it's a friend that you know, or someone that's already been there and done that, someone who owns a business already. More likely than not, they'd be willing to sit with you and say, oh my gosh, I remember when I first started my business. This is what I wish I'd done differently, and they can share that with you. The last part is just validate your idea. And we're going to talk about the research that you want to do first. So I always say, do your homework first. I know you've heard of business owners who jump into business, they didn't know what they were doing, and somehow it magically worked for them. But most of the time, it can be a big disaster without knowing what kind of business you want to do and who you're trying to sell to. So we're going to talk about what kind of research to do and where to find that. You know, the worst part is saying, I'm going to do this business or any kind of new project. You open up your laptop and you've got an empty screen staring at you. You don't even know where to start or what to do. What's the first word I type on this screen? Okay, so we're going to talk about the 4 areas I was consider that you should research, and then the next slide is the tools that can help you find this information. Because again, most people don't know what they're supposed to find out. They don't know what to research. The first thing is there a need? There's got to be some pain point or problem that your business idea solves. It's got to address a need. Otherwise, no one's going to buy it because they don't need it. What is it that they need, and how important is that need to them? So some of you might have business ideas where you thought, oh man, this process really sucks, or I can't believe I can't get a certain product or service. Well, maybe I could do that. Starting in that place is really good because you've already identified a problem. Think of how many millions of businesses have been started that really take care of a need that you have in a unique way, in a different way, in a new way. Our technology is changing all the time, opening up all sorts of opportunities for you to be a business owner and to actually sell your product or service to somebody who really wants it. They have money in their pocket, ready to pay you. Let's see, the second part is making sure that you understand the market size. And that's how many people or organizations want what you want to provide. Who here is willing to share their business idea? I have a few if nobody's willing, but with this big of a group, I'm sure somebody is willing to share. Just an idea you have. We're not going to steal it. Yeah.
Diapers made out of bamboo.
Ooh, I like that. Diapers made out of bamboo. Is there a need for diapers? Generally, yes. I have a 2-year-old. I hope soon I'm out of this. But there's also a need for people that want to be careful with the environment.
More cost-effective.
And more cost-effective. She's been doing some research and some thinking about her target audience, which is part of our other thing. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. In addition to the market size, I want to say one thing about the market size is there has to be enough people that are going to buy this at the price that they want to pay for you to make money. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in business. Make it a hobby. So doing this research will show you how many people actually or organizations want what you are going to sell, how badly they need it. And then on the other side is, we'll go to the bottom, your competitive advantage. How are you different than what's already out there? So what was your first name? Caitlin. So Caitlin told us a little bit about her competitive advantage. Not only are diapers expensive, I mean, we have to buy them all the time, but there's other things that make hers very different from any other. So making sure that your product or service is distinctly different, and I do want to remind you that doesn't mean the price. I usually tell people, don't worry about the price. You'll figure out what people are willing to pay for it. But make sure that you are different somehow, distinctly different, whether it's the way you package it or the way you deliver it or the group you sell to. Just make sure it's different. And the last part is who is already selling to your target audience. It might be really hard to get their attention away from other products. But with something unique like that, depends. It might not take much to get their attention if it's the need that they have. Gosh, they're so expensive, those diapers, or I want them to be more earth-friendly. Any questions about what you want to learn about when you have this business idea? By the way, if you're in business already, you can do this for your growth opportunity. I mean, some people have been in business for 5, 10, 20, 35 years. They don't need to know how to start a business, but they might need help actually moving into a growth opportunity. It's the same thing, the same research. All right. So here's some tools that I have used in the past on my Ask Clancy for some more ideas, but I love Google Trends. Has anyone heard of Google Trends before? In the back, yes, one person, good. Google is one of the most used websites in the entire world. If not, it's second only to whatever it is. But what I love about Google is that they've been keeping track about what we've been searching for. And now, this time, searches mirror purchases. If there's a lot of searching, there's a lot of buying going on. So it's helpful for you to know what are the popular searches on Google and other web places too, but Google Trends will actually show you the analytics. You can change the filters on it to look for a specific area over a specific amount of time by that keyword search. And we don't have time to go into it, but you should go there. It's really amazing. And this stuff can be the last 12 months, the last 6 months. I always say 2 years is too long ago. I would even say a year ago is too long ago. But put in your keyword search and you're going to see, this is really cool, you can see many things with that report. One of them is seasonality. If you didn't know what the seasonality is for your product, the graphs and charts will sure show you. You do the last 12 months and it will show you the high times people are searching for and the low times. That means if you're going to market online, market at the high times instead of the low times. Another thing is it will show you, if you have it set to US, you can see which states search for it more. So and I would encourage you to think beyond your own community, but you can sell in the whole country. You could sell outside of this country. There's way more buyers outside of our country than in it. So you can see what states, what countries search for that product or service more than anyone else. Yes?
That was my question. Is this products only or services?
Everything, yes. Because most people, tell me if I've got it wrong, you will search for a service or product before you go and buy it. Is that right? I do. I mean, even if I'm going to go pick something up, I will search to make sure it's in the store. Or before I meet somebody to hire them, I'm going to search for them online. It's pretty amazing. So that's one thing when you're doing cash flow projections. So that just basically means you're going to estimate how much money you're going to earn and how much money you're going to have to spend each month for at least 1 year. So with that Google Trends, you can say, okay, I think I might sell more in August and July than I will in December. So I'm going to make my numbers appear that way. It'll be closer to reality than anything else. So use Google Trends. Another thing I think is really great about Google Trends is it will give you other similar keyword searches. So if you think, oh gosh, I always thought that people search for my product or service with these 2 words, you might find that it's a different set of words, so then you can use those words to do more marketing online. That's just the beginning of what Google Trends can do, and really just an example of what market research can help you with. Size Up. I love it. I don't know how many people use it, but the federal government has a widget called Size Up, and they're pulling information from all the federal things that they can possibly get a hold of. I mean, the federal government at least has integrated that information together. So the Postal Service, federal government, taxes, federal government's tracking that, your purchases, taxes, all of this is really integrated into SizeUp to give you market research really easily. You can sign up for a free login, no cost. It will take you maybe 2 minutes to fill out your personal information and create a login. And then it will give you information about your target audience, what zip codes buy your product or service more than others in a certain area. It'll give you, I could go on and on. It will give you a comparison of how much you're going to plan on paying your employees, how many employees, just a long list of things of comparisons to actually what's going on, because it's the federal government and they know a lot about us, right? Did you have a question? Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. You can even look for vendors here. So if you're thinking, like I have an idea for t-shirts. So if I'm looking for a vendor, maybe a wholesaler who wholesales t-shirts, like get it at a better price, that would also show up in that report as well. There's just not a lot of time, but this is one thing you should look into, are market research tools. And again, the Women's Business Center of Utah, we can give you more tools to help you and to help, even if you don't know what to do the first time, we'll just sit with you and use our computers and we can do it together. One thing I really like, let's see where we're at time. Okay, so we've got like 20 minutes. This is good. Okay, so who here's heard of business model canvas? Now we're getting like way deep into like entrepreneurial stuff. I have heard people talk about, oh, we don't need business plans anymore. I don't think, banks don't want that. I'll just tell you my personal opinion, if that's okay. The business model canvas, I think, is a research tool. If you can see kind of the areas, and this is kind of a simplified picture of it, but it's where you can think about, okay, what partners do I need? So you see the up top left here, where it says partners. It gets you thinking about the different aspects of your business. What partners am I going to need? What kind of activities will my business do? It's very different between services and products, and really different between all different kinds of businesses. Resources, what resources am I going to need? Well, if you're an online retailer, you're going to need a really good website, e-commerce. You start listing the things that you need to do this business. And again, we can help you with this, but it's kind of putting all these different aspects of how that business is going to run onto kind of one chart. You look at the different areas. Again, the middle one is value proposition. I love value proposition. That's where the value comes in for those who are going to use your product. So this is an example I like to give in thinking about what is your product's value proposition. What value is your product or service to the people who are going to buy it? What is that to them? So here's the example I like to use is a car. So if I were making cars or selling cars, yes, a car is made of metal and steel and rubber tires and a nice radio, but the value proposition to me for a car is freedom. Get your minds thinking about the value of something to another person or organization, not necessarily the exact product or service, but what they get from it, the value they get from it. And my grandmother, Clancy knows, I have lunch with her once a week. She lives in Rose Park. She's 94, lives on her own. And I think she was about 88, so this was only a few years ago. I came over to her house and she told me that they took away her driver's license. And she was swearing and she was so mad about it. Grandmas have no filter anymore, but she was so upset that she could no longer drive her own car. And she even now occasionally can mention to me, I can't get where I need to go. No one will take me at the time I need to go to the stores I need to go to. And the value proposition of a car is freedom. So be thinking about the value that you're bringing to somebody, not just the actual product or service. Another part of the business model canvas, customer relationships, customer segments. You might have more than one segment. Most people sell to more than just one group. And here's an example, and sometimes it's trendy, but, and this was trendy a few years ago, but do you remember when people were putting feathers in their hair, braiding feathers in their hair? So at the time I was the business advisor, and all of a sudden, like the Sportsman's Warehouse, they had a new target audience for their fly fish feathers. They were going to women's hair. And so there was an opportunity to sell to a new group of people that had a new value proposition, although usually trendy stuff you probably want to stay away from. However, you can make some good money for a little bit of time. One thing about business is, and I was talking to a business owner on Friday at lunchtime, and she has started a business that does corporate massages. And she was one of the first clients I ever worked with, and I think at the time she had maybe 6 employees. I went to a panel discussion at Westminster College, and she now has 1,000 employees. My mind was kind of blown, like, how do you handle 1,000 employees, you know? And I was talking to her about exit strategies. This is not part of our thing, but it does play into this, is what's your plan for the business? Where are you taking this thing? It's like going on vacation. If you know where you're going, then you can buy the right ticket and get the right booking and stay at the right hotel. So her plan is to sell. And so I'd heard a few people talk about, I wish I'd never sold my business, but her plan is to sell her business. And she wants to ride the wave of her business until it's reached its top point, and then sell right then before it starts to go down. That's optimal, right? If we could only know what that is, but just know that if you plan to sell a business, that's a great idea. It's a great plan as long as it fits with what you want to do and your business plan gets you there. But riding that wave to the crest, great place to sell a business. Costs, what's it going to cost? One thing for me was, it wasn't on the back of a napkin, but I did make a list for my bartending business. So I'm like, well, I'm going to need glasses, bar glasses. I'm going to need serving supplies. And I definitely on the relationships, I went and visited with all the event venues in the valley. And then I found out that some of them require their vendors and their caterers to be on a preferred list. So all the research things to find out, okay, I didn't realize that. I need to be on that list so I can get the customers that I'm looking for. The last one that we haven't talked about very briefly are revenue streams. Checking my time, good. Revenue streams are basically, yes, perfect, thank you. Oh yes, in fact, Dawn's going to pass out evaluations just as a pause. Go ahead, question. Yes, I can read them, but I would also encourage you to Google, because you're going to get the actual form that will have instructions in it. But it says partners, activities, resources, value proposition, customer relationships, channels, we didn't even mention that one, customer segments, so target audience, revenue streams, and costs. I think those are the basic ones. I would definitely Google business model canvas. It's a good way to start researching. Anyway, we do have evaluations, and the reason why I'm handing them out is because I mentioned we are funded in part by the SBA. Again, your federal tax dollars. We take care of the money that we've been given, but we are required to evaluate the people we train. So if Dawn's going to hand those out. So if you're willing to fill out an evaluation, it goes into a folder where a federal person will come and look at it once and say, good job, you did it right. So thank you for doing that. All right, so just a couple of more slides and we can do some Q&A. The next part, after researching, and like I said, some people just jump into business and figure it out. But I would highly suggest that if you have a great idea, that it is worth doing your homework first before jumping in and minimize the potential for disaster, if that's the right word for it. So first of all, when you're getting ready to actually put your research into a plan, you just have to make sure that you're learning as much as you can. So in some ways, you might be the best person you know at a certain service or product. It might be that you've done hair for 10 years and you're really good at it and now you want to own your own salon. Just make sure that you're learning how to be a business owner as well. One thing that I remember a lady, I met with her, and I had been in hospitality for 10 years. I worked in hotel management, and I knew hotel management like the back of my hand, and I loved it. And that's where I was working when I started my business with the help of the Women's Business Center. So the Sheraton, right? We're here. This was my world. I worked in a hotel. I did all sorts of things. So front desk, I did housekeeping, program management, sales, marketing, all that kind of stuff. And I was in this new role as a business advisor because I was a business owner and now I would get to help other people. And I had a lady come in and say, hotel meeting space or whatever, it's too expensive. So I'm going to start my own event venue, and I'm just going to make it cheaper. And I'm like, whoa, have you worked in an event venue? She said, no. I'm like, I really think that you should go work for an event venue and get to know the jobs before you try to start something you have no idea how it works. And I did share with her, by the way, the money comes from the hotel rooms more than the meeting space. So I was able to share a little bit with her, but it's important to learn not just the product or service that you're so good at, but also everything else around it as much as you can. Now that we've talked, endlessly about researching and making sure that you understand is where you actually make a plan of attack. That's where I think a business plan is really helpful. So if you've done your research and you use the business model canvas, you've gotten to know those different areas. To me, a business plan is your narrative about how this is going to go down. I personally think a business plan is fantastic. One thing that will probably sound really great to you is it shouldn't be very long. You know, you heard of business plans and you think, oh my gosh, like 50 pages of what? And charts and graphs. And a business plan, to me, 8 pages, no more, including the cover sheet. We have a template that's on our website that can help you, and it's just the basics of those different areas. What is it you're going to sell? Who are you going to sell to? How are you going to get their attention? Who's the competition? Who's going to run this, by the way? Somebody's going to run the business, probably you. And also the money. How are you going to handle the money? A business plan is always complemented with cash flow projections. And again, those are how much money you're going to earn, how much money you're going to spend in 1 month for 12 months in a row. So each column is a month. And I love spreadsheets, and I'm guessing Clancy does too. We can help you with that. So our website also has a template for cash flow projections. So we're almost going to wrap up here. We've got plenty of time. So I mentioned a business plan, cash flow projections. Sometimes in presentations like this, I like to show you what one looks like, but I didn't have a lot of time. So I would encourage you to go to our website, which is wbcutah.org. And you'll find I think it's on the online page, there's 3 templates: business model canvas, business plan, cash flow projections. So I want to mention resources because I think it's important for you to know what is available to you. And I think most people don't have a clue, really. There are so many organizations in this area, in Utah, that are here to help you, most of them at no cost. Who doesn't enjoy having something that's worth high value at no cost to you, especially if you already paid for it in your taxes? So ours is first. Of course, I'm going to say ours first. For women, that's what we do. We help women and customize our services for women because we're a little bit different when it comes to men and why we start businesses, how we start businesses, what kind of businesses. And I'll tell you all the research I've done, and knowing women just like you, is that your family's first. I mean, most men won't necessarily think that way when starting a business. But flexibility and family responsibility for a woman is very important, and it's the pivotal point about, do I even do this? Can it work with my family and my responsibilities? There's a whole other thing, lots of things we could talk about where women are a little bit different than men in business and operating their businesses. One of them is access to capital. Okay, I said it. Getting money for your business can be a challenge for women more than men. We have 2 brothers with the Women's Business Center because our federal funding comes from SBA, and so does the funding for 2 other organizations, and that's SCORE, and apparently they just go by the acronym now, but it used to stand for Society, Service Corps of Retired Executives. She's got it right here in the front. Good, so those are basically mentors, not all of them are retired, that have been there and done that, and they want to give back. They may have been an executive in an industry that you need to learn about. They're the perfect people to talk to. Women's Business Center of Utah has a business advisor, and again, Clancy, raise your hand in case people came in later. Clancy here up on the second row is our business advisor. She will sit down with you, even at your place of business. She can meet with you off-site. And one of our grant requirements is that she does that, and we would be in trouble if we didn't. So, because I could go off forever. The federal government realizes that women have special needs when it comes to family responsibilities. So that's why we can come to you. That's why we can meet with you off hours on a weekend. That's something that SCORA and small business development centers are not required to do. But we are, and we're happy to do it. So SCORA, again, is mentors. They are mainly just focused on consulting and advising. An example of us referring somebody to SCORA would be if you need to value your business, if you want to sell it or you're valuing a business you want to buy. That's an area we don't have expertise in, but SCORE has one person that valuated businesses as a living. Do you see the value of having somebody like that? SCORE is amazing. The last one on the bottom is the Utah Small Business Development Center Network. And they're very similar. All three of us do counseling and mentorship and training, but our specialties are what make us very different. So small business development centers, you might have heard of them. They have like 13 or 14 locations and been around longer than we have. Who here has heard of SBDC or Small Business Development Centers? Oh, not that many. Okay, so we'll introduce you to the family. So a sister and two brothers, utahsbdc.org. You can find a local SBDC in your area. They're almost exclusively located on college campuses. So you'll find that most of them work for the college, but are there for business owners. Isn't that a cool place? I love the synergy of a campus. Just really cool. All right, so resources to help you. There are many, but these are the three that are funded by the federal government, funded by your federal tax dollars. And they're all here to help. We get along well with each other, and we do help you to make sure you get the resources and help you need from the right group. All right, so obviously, after all these things we've been talking about, you launch your business. You open the doors. And this is, of course, making sure that you've done your research and know what kind of marketing to do. And I think a lot of people need help with marketing because either they realize the value of it, especially when it's not going well, or they just have no idea how to go about it. But a lot of people will spend time getting their business open without thinking about making sure that people know to find them or that they exist. You know, you can spend a lot of time getting a beautiful restaurant ready with the seating and the chairs and the servers and the kitchen, the back end. But if no one knows you're there and you open up the doors, it's going to be crickets. So marketing is really important. So the people or organizations you want to sell to know about you, and they know why they should know about you. This is an exciting part too. My business was launched in, what year? I think it was May of 2010. So it's been a little while. And don't be afraid to negotiate and to barter. I think it's a great way to do that. We did a launch party at Cactus and Tropicals near, I guess, Mill Creek, if anybody's familiar. I did a trade with them. So I did a drink party for their Christmas shindig, and they gave me free space for my launch, so I didn't have to pay for it. So be thinking about going small in the very beginning. A term we use is bootstrapping. If you've heard the name or the word bootstrap. Bootstrap just means pay for it yourself. Start small, pay for it yourself, borrow from family or friends, and we always suggest starting there rather than a loan because you have to pay back that loan with interest. So bootstrapping is really fantastic. Who here has launched a business in the last year or two? Exciting. Yes, one over here. Do you want to share what your business is? If you want to. She doesn't want to do it. It's okay. Your business? Yes. Airbnb. Ooh, Airbnb. You know what? That's just exploding. Great opportunities. Our organization has rented at least 3 Airbnbs. It is wonderful. What a great opportunity. Good. All right, so I think there's just one more. Yes, we'll go into Q&A. So we're at 1:47. We got 3 minutes for questions. Yes. It's very similar. It's very similar. Obviously, you're not making a profit, but you're doing good. I mean, we're a nonprofit, so I understand the whole need to have it funded. The quick answer to your question is that our federal requirements are that we can't assist nonprofits unless they help women entrepreneurs. Isn't that interesting? We help for-profit companies, But if you want help, we can probably find someone that can help you. And if your business is going to help women entrepreneurs, then come right in. That's a good question. Go ahead.
So I have 4 ideas. They're different.
Mhm.
Can I come to the Women's Business Center and I don't know which would be more profitable or which is more realistic? They're just
Yeah.
ideas. I've spent 27 years at home raising children.
Awesome.
So I just, with that, is that what
Absolutely. So her question was, I have 4 ideas. What do I come and just spill the beans, and what do I do? Yes, so you'll meet with Clancy right behind you. What she can do is help you evaluate what's going to be quickest to market, which one's going to take the most maybe funding, and look at it and decide what should come first. Because you really shouldn't look at all of them at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Any last questions? We have just a couple minutes. By the way, we have a lot of resources and connections too. So if you need a connection into an industry or a lender, we can connect you as well. Yes? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, our old website had it. We'll have to make sure it's on the new one, but Clancy can send that to you. Should be on the website. It's not hard. Thank you. If you'll fill out the evaluations that we handed out, that would be fantastic. And it looks like we're at 1:49. Oh, everyone's standing up and we're not even done yet. It's okay. Any last questions for any of you? Not. Well, thank you so much for your time and good luck with your businesses. Thank you. Thank you.